We're going to have a very fun, probably, discussion on how to use Ki Blasts and Ki Blast property moves in Pressure. And I will be using my main team to demonstrate this for a little bit. And then we'll explore the nuances of what certain characters can do based on their frame advantage and whatnot. Thank you so much for that birthday wishes. Really appreciate it. For those of you that don't know, today is my birthday. But yeah, I hope all of you guys are doing well, and hope you guys are having a really great day. But yeah, we're going to be discussing Ki Blast property moves, how to use them effectively, what kind of situations do they create. Let's see if I remember even how to play this team. Oh, pain. Forgot his 2Ls actually. Kind of bad. Let's see if I remember how to do Blue Kulus. Oh, pain. Oh, pain. It's been a while. Buku. I haven't played him in like a month, to be honest, so yeah, I don't have his timings anymore. So I have to, basically whenever this happens, I basically just have to go back in the lab and then play him. I haven't played this team in a while, to be honest. Even my, my Beerus is getting pretty rusty. There we go. See, do I got these? Pain. Oops. Nope. Pain. There we go. Pain! I dropped the easy part! No! No! It's been a while since I've even played the game, to be honest. I haven't touched it in a couple of days. I've mostly just been practicing my Gogeta combos and trying to lab some movement, but otherwise I've been really out of the game. It's been a very busy week for me, as you guys may have noted. Considering that we had an absence of streams, we normally have a more consistent stream schedule, but the stream schedule should be normalized this week, except for Saturday. Saturday, I'm taking the day off, so everything that we normally do Saturday will be moved to Friday afternoon instead. So we'll definitely see what happens. If I can do Friday, actually. But yeah. It's been a while. I don't even remember how to play this team. Do I even remember how to do his combos? No. Pain. Might need to snipe some Gogeta combos. I don't have a real TOD. I don't do TODs, to be honest. Like, I prefer not to do TODs most of the time. Because, it's a waste of, in my opinion, a very important resource. Well, it's not a waste, necessarily. It just doesn't guarantee a win. It just guarantees a lead, potentially. Or a comeback. But basically, I could show you how to optimize some combos and some stuff. Like I can show you some stuff. Because TODs are a risk that you have to basically take into account. Because you definitely, the worst thing that can happen to you in this game, sans actually losing the game outright, the worst thing that can happen to you in this game, besides losing outright, actually, is having a character die. Having a character die is really, really not good. Like, even if, like, your characters are all, like, below 40% health, that is still a more structurally sound team than having, like, one character at full health, basically. So, getting TOD, even though it doesn't matter... Oh, pain. Even though it doesn't necessarily matter, you really don't want to lose a character, because it's bad. Like, if you can avoid it, do so. Oops. But, yeah. So cool. Fun. But yeah. Point being is... don't get TOD'd. There we go. My muscle memory's coming back. Let's go. Fun. Damn, it's a really hard link. Yeah. So, I think we're a little bit over now. I think I'm gonna give it to like 8 or 9, 10 for you guys. But, yeah, anyway, like I was saying, you don't really want to die if you can avoid it. Like, having a fully intact team is very, very important for a couple of reasons. The biggest one is, like, for example, like right here, like, for example, you can actually use this team. Like, Beerus does not have the best meter gain in the world. But even worse is that he loses the ability to actually dive and get SKD meterlessly if he heavily prorates his combo. So I end up having to cut the combo around, like, if I want to do something like this, I have to cut the combo around here. Like, I end up having to cut the combo around, like, here. Like this. And then I go into Oki. But that, again, that's not a lot of meter gain. But if I do this, I'm in a much better... I didn't mean to meet you there. I meant to do this again. But I am a lot more structurally sound as a result of it. Because I get SKD here, which lets me get really cool setups. I can do this. Well, maybe not that, but I could do this. You know? And I can bait stuff if I want to. I have a bunch of shenanigans I can do here. I can do this. I'm never going to get that. I forgot the timer. But the point is that at this point, like, this character is so much stronger. At this point, this character is so much stronger with assists than he would be with Limit Break. Because then I basically get to continue building resources and make sure that my team gets to remain alive. Another thing that's really, really important in this particular stage as well is that when you have, like, Bluku, for example, like, this does not do a whole lot of minimum damage. It's like 750 something, which is slightly on the lower end. So if I do this... Oh, I messed up. Just gonna do the lazy version. So if I do this, right, that's not really gonna kill. And then at that point, if I don't have... Oh, thank you so much for the... Wow. 6 months of tier 1 subscription to Metascape. That's crazy. Thank you so much, Tyrannosaurus Rex, which, again, that name brings me way too much joy. Oh, wait, I think this was... Wait, I think that is actually Meta, anyway. Yeah, that's hilarious.
What, did Meta just give himself?
Yeah, he did. But, the point is, like... Yeah, I get it. That's my Smurf. Yeah. Guys, you should give him a sub. No, don't do it. That's a bad idea.
Like giving a Smurf a sub?
Yeah, that would be really funny.
God.
But point being is that you don't want to let your team die, because this is a lot stronger than actually... This is a lot stronger than actually having Limit Break. I don't have to spend a lot of bar. Like, if I wanted a level 3, like, from Blue Goku and whatnot, I would probably have to use EX Dive if I do a bunch of loops, which is kind of a problem. And then if I don't have an assist with Blue Goku, I have to start doing stuff like this, which is not optimal, you know, versus this, which you can already see the damage difference, to be honest. Like, already we're almost at 4K, and I didn't even complete the combo. So, like, at that point, you really want to... That's a whole lot of words, but basically you want to keep your team alive. Alright, guys, I believe we're ready to get started. We're going to start talking about 5S on block, or what most characters have, Ki Blasts. So, we're going to talk about Ki Blasts. Blue Goku has a very standard Ki Blast. There's actually nothing unique about this. It travels at 27 frames full screen. It travels at 27 frames full screen. Close up is about 13. -4, which is pretty average frame advantage. And he can chain it up to 6 times. Like most characters. Nothing really special. Now, what you see a lot of high levels, people doing stuff like this. Oops. So you might be wondering, what's going on here? Why do people do that? Oh my god, I did it again. Oh no, I spaced myself out. Pain. So, at that point, you might be wondering, why would a Blue Goku do this? What's the advantage of doing this over and over again? Well, this is what's called the Ki Blast Stagger. What that means is you reset on 5S. And there's a couple of reasons why you see this a lot. And I see a lot of you guys get punished for this situation. A lot of it seems obvious, but there are a few nuances to this particular issue. There are a few nuances here that are really, really, really difficult to fully understand. But basically, this is not really a video on 5S. I lied to you. The channel lied to you. My Twitter lied to you. What this is about is this is actually a conversation that sets up a bunch of other topics, most notably one of the most important defensive situations that you need to discover, which is the Reflect mind game. You see, Ki Blasts have a property that they can be guard cancel reflected, which means they can reflect out of the block stun. Like so. They can also super dash out of the block stun. So notice how if I do anything, hello. You see? And there's nothing I can really do about it. Except that. You can also guard cancel reflect, which is a very, very big thing. Like so. So if I go... That reflects me. I'm -20. Kefla might be able to get a full punish here? Yeah, she does! So she can actually true punish you. If she's frame perfect and presses 2-1-4. Thank you so much for the subs, Daydream. Really, really appreciate it, my friend. So, you might be wondering, alright, well, that sounds like a lot of reasons to avoid, pressing 5S, because your opponent has a lot of options off of it. The thing is, you shouldn't do 5S unless, kind of like everything else, You shouldn't be doing 5S unless you're 100% ready for your opponents to interact with your pressure. So never do this unless you're ready. Because of that. I am plus 16 here. Done. So, at this point, this is kind of an issue. Remember, I'm set to guard all. Oops. And what if I do this? Boom. You have a whole bunch of options here. This is very similar to what we talked about before when we discussed basic pressure. This is what we call, or what I like to call, a gambit. You can essentially invite your opponent to interact with your pressure, and they can deny it by continuing to block. The reason why a lot of people reset after this is for the reasons that I just described. If they guard, cancel, reflect, which can happen, if you guys are a little bit too happy with your block strings, it's a pretty safe thing. But if they don't, they are very minus because the block stun is not as long as the actual recovery of reflect. And that's why stuff like Ki Blast daggers like this, like this work. See? All because she disrespected my Ki Blast. That's kind of an issue. So, what exactly is unique about this situation, and why do we want them? Why do we want them to interact at all? And why is resetting a goal? Well, there are a couple of ways that resetting here is actually really, really strong. The biggest one is that if you space out most normals, this reaches full screen. So my frame advantage actually increases with distance and decreases as I get closer. So point blank, about right here, I'm -4. But what if I do... Now I'm -2. And because I know that I grow more advantageous at this distance, it is a lot safer for Blue Goku to, surprise, surprise, dash block. Which, as you guys know from the times that I've talked about Blue Goku before, is basically a 50-50. Especially if I have bar. So if I do something like... Oops. Like, if I do something like... I'm -3. But I can still frame trap. I still have frame trap options, which is another very, very important part about 5S. 5S doesn't actually end your turn the way going into a special does. 5S can still go into heavies and still go into specials as well. And in Blueku's case, these specials scale like mediums, and I can actually change my timing as well. So because I have one fast and one slow one, this is where the situation becomes very scary for a Blue Goku. Or for a Blue Goku opponent. Because if I do this, I can do that. Now, that's not really easy to convert unless... Oops. I could do something like that. Oops. If I want to do something like that, I can. If I want to do something like that from short range, I can. If I want to dash forward, I can. And most importantly, that beats grabs. I'm sorry, grabs beats reflect. So, that is a very good tactic if you're a Blue Goku player. Because Blue Goku's Ki Blast facilitates a lot. Remember that when you are getting your opponent to interact with you, one of the most intermediate principles that you have to keep in mind is that you want them to react to your stuff. You want them to engage with you. Because that's how you kill them. You want them to react inappropriately. So if I do this all the time, they're gonna think, oh, he's gonna do that. I can just do that. Get a free conversion. And if I'm really cheeky, I can just do that. And look how safe I am, obviously. And if they reflect, which is what's really, really important, which is the obvious answer here, I'm plus 19. I have time to literally walk back, essentially. Oops. I can do whatever I want to you. That's how characters like Blue Goku have their entire toolkits revolve around 5S, which is why it's a good idea to incorporate 5S into your game plan. But you have to be careful, because there are ways to call out Ki Blast staggers. The biggest one is, as you saw earlier, if they decide to Super Dash you. And the reason why is because if they guard cancel reflect, or I'm sorry, guard cancel Super Dash, it is very, very hard to punish. I could do that if I'm fast. I could do that. But if I'm not ready, that happens. If I'm late. It's kind of a messy situation. It's not exactly clean. Another thing that I have to be mindful of is that my opponent can simply just do nothing. So if I do a Ki Blast stagger and whatnot, they can literally just jump away. And it can be hard. So, to go back to the beginning with Ki Blasts, the good thing about resetting off Ki Blasts is that Ki Blasts, because they reach so far, have insane advantage. They also have a lot of pushback. So I can actually push her into the corner to make myself safer. There you go. You cannot Gatling into a medium from 5S. Once you use 5S, you can only go into a heavy or only go into a special. So what you want to do with this is, if you are going to use this in your pressure, you want to do this after your mediums are spent. You can do it early if you want to play that mind game up front, but it's not always effective to do that. So, that's exactly how Blue Goku uses his Ki Blasts. As we gain more advantage, it becomes easier for us to abuse the respect afforded to us, and it becomes a very dangerous mind game / gambit that you can play with your opponent. Every character has a very similar 5S situation, but tailored to them, which is why my team is so interesting to talk about. Now we're going to talk about Kefla. Now, Kefla is very unique when it comes to the 5S mind game, because here's something actually I didn't even mention about Blue Goku. I can only true string into 5S from a medium. I can't do this. And I can't do this, I don't think. Oh, I can, okay. I can't true string from my lights. See? Kefla, however, can. Now, why is that? Well, you can kind of see it on the screen. Kefla is one of the privileged characters in this game that has 11 frame startup, point blank. Which means she has possibly the fastest Ki Blast in the game, coupled with a few other characters. That is huge for Kefla. At full screen, she hits on frame 23, which means that she can stuff most beams on reaction. So if my opponent calls a beam assist, I can just go, no. And because of that, Kefla ends up having to use a very, very, very special, ends up creating a very special circumstance with her 5S. So, let's observe her toolkit. So, we don't want that to be reflected. So that's not really safe for us to do. We want to be able to jail that, because if we jail... Oops, my bad. If we... I guess I can't true string into that. It jails into vanish. So, we kind of want to be careful with that one. However... we can true string into that, which is a low. Why is that so good? Well, very, very simple. When you reflect, you have to stand block first, and then press S. You see where this is going? So if I do this, I can end up punishing the reflect attempt because she hits low. This is especially strong because most people like to stand block after seeing the 2M because they erroneously think that there is no longer a danger of, they no longer think that there is a danger of a low. Kefla, first of all, that's not even true because I can just reset into that, like that. But more importantly, I can just do that. So she actually has additional lows that you have to deal with. And what's really cool is that's solo comboable. So I don't need an assist to convert that Lariat. Now you're in an Oki type situation, and now you're having a bad day. So Kefla is particularly strong at the Reflect Mind Game because she has this constant threat of a low. So if you react slower than you should, anything slower than frame perfect, you're getting hit. That's scary. And as you saw, the damage I did off that is really no joke. That's almost 4K. And you can optimize that, to be honest. That's a lot of damage. That's setting up a 2-touch. Now, that's really cool about her. But more importantly, she also has wonderful, wonderful 5H. This thing reaches really far. Look at that distance. Like, this is powerful. So, that's sick. But another thing that, now here's the thing. You can't go from 5S into 6H. So you don't have to worry about that with Kefla. However, you still have to deal with a lot of stuff. And because she has those threats, even though she's less advantageous, because if you notice, she's -5 rather than Bluku's -4. And she has less pushback than Blue Goku. She can abuse the respect because they don't want to get hit with the low. Getting hit by the low is no bueno. They don't want to get hit by that. So, Kefla creates a very unique situation because of her tools. Her 5S accentuates her tools. She has an enormous amount of options as well, more so than most of the cast when doing Ki Blasts, which is why you should respect it. But more importantly, her 5S also has a considerable amount of pushback, which means, because this is -7, she could do this. So what does that mean? Well, pain. It's pain for the opponent. This is an incredibly potent stagger, because this also disincentivizes mashing, which means she could do this. See? She could also do that, which maintains her distance. Although Kefla has a really good jab. If they have a bad jab, like Beerus... Hang. If they have a bad jab, like Beerus... Pain. Which lets her set up the walk-back mind game, which we will talk in the advanced master classes. So Kefla's pressure situation around 5S becomes incredibly potent and very, very, very powerful as a result. But she has one more tool that is quite possibly one of the meanest things that she can do. Does anyone want to guess? Chat, do you have any ideas on what tool I'm about to mention? Yes, it's a stale baguette dimensional. Correct. Zoom Zoom. Now, why is Zoom Zoom so messed up? Because it punishes the Reflect Mind game. Let's see if I can get the timing right. It's been a while. They can't reflect the assist. No worries. But they can't reflect the assist. Normally, remember, you can reflect after this. And if I were to set the bot to reflect, they can. However, if I were to try to do that against that string and recording it, if I'm not absolutely frame perfect, this is going to cross up my reflect. And because of that, they're going to get 5S, and it's going to get counter hit by the assist. Which is the freest confirm in the game, depending on the assist. This is why I like really fast assists with Kefla, and why, even though I think DP assists are great, I like the ability to convert on the ground a lot more. Because... See? Freest confirm in the game. Even if you mess up the timing. And what's even better about this particular situation is that if they block it, you get a mix. I'm plus 25 here. I can meaty. I can 2M. I can DR, meaty. I can cross up. And trust me, your opponent is going to be a lot less ready to block tech or do anything because they have to get over the fact that you're behind them now. And you just dashed up to them. So sometimes you can just do this. I'm sorry. And that will catch them off guard. Because they'll be like, what's happening? And they'll see Kefla dash forward, walk back, and then 5M hits. Many people get hit by that. So, Kefla has a very unique situation, again, just like with Goku, based around her toolkit that makes her incredibly potent, on top of being impossible to guard cancel. So, Kefla broken. Kefla broken, and her Ki Blast is a big, big part of that. Now, of course, arguably the best character in the entire game at the Reflect Mind game and abusing Ki Blasts is this asshole. Point blank, he's -2. This is also -2. That's -9, but the big thing is this is -6 on top of having insane pushback. So he can literally just do and then convert like that. So why is this important? Because no matter how far your opponent travels, if they reflect... Thank you. That's really good. If they reflect, he has a traveling 2M. which means they can get TOD'd for trying to reflect incorrectly. What's really impressive as well is this. Very, very strong reset, because that spaces out most jabs, including Kefla's. I believe. It's been a while since I tested this. Oops. I forgot. Forgot that it's a frame trap. Is that always a frame trap? Yeah, it's always a frame trap. That's hilarious. See? So that's particularly potent, and what's really scary is if they try to jump. Oh my god, pain. I can do that. So if I do... Pain. It's really hard to get that a frame trap. There we go. But that is a frame trap. This character is kinda nutty. Because what that essentially means is he can put you in a situation where you constantly have to guess reflect. Because if you don't, and you let him get away with stuff, this character becomes a nightmare. Because then he can do that. And what's really messed up is if you give him the right assists, he can dash block, call assist, so if they try to DP or something, he can just call the assist. And then run up and take his turn. Or he can do, if I use Blue Goku, boom. You see, this is actually low-key kind of a rant. This is actually why I get annoyed with Beerus players. It's because this character is so messed up in so many ways. Like, this character is one of the few characters that I would actually describe his on-block situation as fucking evil. This character is genuinely evil. And, of course, you have the 50-50s. Which bank on the reflect mind game, because he can just do this. And if they guard cancel reflect because they're expecting you to do this, well, guess what? You just whiffed reflect in front of Beerus. Huh. What a shame. What a shame. And what makes him particularly interesting is this. A lot of people tend to guard cancel reflect Beerus for some reason. I'm sorry, guard cancel super dash. Oh my god, I gotta do it faster. Because, unlike most characters, like everyone else, he's actually incentivized to use this. And the reason why he's incentivized to use this is because of that. So the fact that he has mix-up from here that can frame trap, or if I want to be really cheeky, because then I can even do this. Empty low. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes, my friends. You guys are really, really kind. But as you can see, this character kind of messed up. And it all revolves around his ki blasts that a lot of people complain about because they're either too slow or, oh my god, everything he does is reflectable. But there's one other thing that makes him particularly unique that very few other characters in this game have. If you space him, he's plus 20. Now, the reason why this situation is cancerous is because, remember, I'm -2. I can safely reset here. So I can do... Yeah, I'm -26. But the thing is, you don't actually know what I'm going to do. Because I don't have to do anything. And if a lot of people try to guard cancel reflect, try to guard cancel super dash. So they do this, they see it, they super dash, they die. Because I can also just do this. And now I'm +6. Which means I can dash up for free and do whatever I want to. Because I'm plus now. Of course, you can reflect that. But again, I just dashed up to you. This, my friends, is why I play this character. I am very evil on block. Those of you know this. Everyone who complains about my Beerus, this is why.
This is how I got good at defense, was blocking your Beerus. I don't like it.
No one likes blocking my Beerus. But if you're a Beerus main out there, by the way, seriously, you can stagger with him. It's okay. He has pretty decent buttons. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is fantastic. This is great. And these are pretty alright. Because I can do that. So, remember what we talked about universal mix-ups? Well, Beerus has a bunch of them. Because he can also do... Wow. How do you tell if you're plus? Legion Black asks. Who cares? Here's the thing. You don't have a frame counter in this game. So I can usually tell I'm plus because if they run into this, I know I'm plus. If they get hit and I'm not doing anything, I'm plus. If I do this, I'm plus. I know that. There are some basic scenarios where I know I'm plus, I know that's plus, I know, I think it's... That's plus. So, that being kept in mind, does your opponent know you're plus? That's the thing. There are a lot of things that are probably mathematically very unsafe that you get away with all the time because you can't tell. You can't tell what's going on. You can't tell when your opponent's plus. And you can't tell by what. It doesn't matter if he's +1, +2, +20. It's all the same. It is not your turn. Now, of course, that's not necessarily true. For example, the Vanish situation, if they're +2, you know, there's a little bit of an RPS here. But the RPS doesn't necessarily exist because of the plus frames. The RPS exists because there's no options off of Vanish. You basically are resetting into everything else that you do. Which is one of the reasons why your opponent has so many options. If I do this, I have a lot of ways of making this very unsafe, because I also do this. Oops. I can also do... pain. I can also do that. To the data, how can you tell if you're plus? It says frame advantage. And if you don't see a minus sign, you're plus. But this is what's really, really cool about this as well. Because of the Reflect Mind game. Because you can do this. Oops. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. That's evil. That's extremely evil. And the reason why that's evil is because your opponent's going to be preoccupied with trying to get out of this. You have introduced an element on the screen that your opponent needs to keep track of. And remember, most people only tech the DRs that they think are coming. Which makes this particularly evil. If I do that. Boom. Oops. But, that being said, this character is very fun. This character is very, very, very messed up on block. But these situations are kind of unique. Every character has a 5S situation. I'm going to go over some common ones that are a little bit tricky and a little bit difficult to deal with. And I'm also going to talk about characters that are not very good at the 5S in my game, and you shouldn't do it. Yes, you are correct, Legion Black. Any number with in the parentheses, as long as it doesn't have a minus sign, means you're plus. So the reason why this is not good is, as you can see, it's -7. It also doesn't have a lot of pushback because his hurt box is so huge. Which means you could theoretically do that, but you have no way. They want to be careful because if you reflect here, you could theoretically do that. You could theoretically do that. But the problem is that most people who reset on this generally tend to jump. So again, you could also do this if they try to jump you. But the problem is if they decide to mash, like if they call you out and they decide to mash, well, here's the problem. Oh, that was the wrong one. There we go. There we go. That frame traps nicely. Yeah, at least there's true strings. I'm happy about that. Good. Broly's situation's not too bad. The left number means your advantage. The number in the bracket means your advantage after landing. So technically, I recovered on frame 17, but I have a frame of landing recovery here, so I'm -26. That's why here it's the same. Here it's here it should be different. No? Okay. That's why here my advantage is different. You could theoretically threaten grab, but I don't think it's as potent as Blue Goku. Because unlike Blue Goku, where you can space yourself out, you do have a serious probability. You have a serious problem. DPs. Okay. Kind of an issue. I could block, theoretically, but they could also just delay the reversal. And if I try to, like, he has a hard time dealing with the situation. So this situation can get you out of a lot, and unlike Blue Goku, where Blue Goku spaces you out, it's a lot harder to DP Blue Goku because the spacing that he creates, Blue Goku's about right here. And it still whiffs. So as you can see, this is the situation that you're more likely to get with Blue Goku that you can't really do with Broly. You kind of have to hard call it out, which kind of makes it less good, unfortunately. And that has to do with a couple of things. One of them is the fact that he has, like, 0 advantage on this. He's -7, obviously. And it's a 15-frame Ki Blast, which is actually slower than average. It's still 27 full screen, which is good. But this is 2 frames slower than normal Ki Blasts. Then there's this character. This character is fairly interesting. This is fairly good. This is fairly good because this pulls him away. And of course, we see the gimmick about this coming back so I can grab before, you know. If I want to frame trap into something, I can probably... Oh, wow. I can't. Okay. I can maybe do this. I could probably do that to frame trap as well. And then, you know, I could probably... No, okay, maybe not that. So I can do my thing. You could do this with Baby. Baby's pretty good. In this regard, he also has this, which is very good at baiting the reflect because he can DR you and because it's coming back. Generally speaking, that's why I'm not a huge fan of this when babies do this, is because if they reflect into the corner, it's not a good time for you. It's very risky.
How's the seasonings?
Ooh.
Perfect. Do you need anything?
Perfect. So...
You can guess what I'm making for dinner.
That's kind of a problem with this character. He does have some issues, though. Specifically this one. He has to fire 3 Ki Blasts. Which means he's vulnerable to guard, cancel, reflect. Because he cannot cancel them, even on hit. I am literally inputting 214S as quickly as I can. And because that's the move that beats Super Dash, you're starting to see the issue. Oh, that works. Good. But it's very hard. It's very, very hard to deal with this. Because you have to basically be frame perfect. And you have to basically be reading the Super Dash almost. It's very difficult to react to that in a real match. Especially with a 2-on-4 input, no less. Like, it's hard to 2H that. And he can't really reflect afterwards either, I don't believe. Maybe he could. Maybe he could. But that situation, a little bit rough. That situation is a little bit on the rough side. In a practical match, this is very hard. So, yeah. This is fine, but this has very slow startup. It pulls you away from the opponent. So if they read it and you're getting a little bit too predictable in your strings and I know you're going to success, I'm just going to Super Dash and you're not ready for it. Because I'm going to stuff this. I'm going to stuff the startup. I believe you can frame trap. Maybe? Okay. Okay, good. You can frame trap that. Good. But again, these situations, while on paper he could theoretically get away with it, you're kind of still at the issue of, is this practical in a real match? And the amount of times that I've seen people get punished for this, kinda whack, honestly. So, definitely keep that in mind when playing this character. And then the other character that has a very unique situation, his 5S, is a beam, but it's not a true beam. I believe they can Super Dash this, but that's okay because he has that and he has this. So, maybe it's fine. But, you know, you do have to kind of be a little bit careful with this character. Thank you so much for the follow, Legion Black. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to see you around, man. But, you know, like, you could do this, but there's almost always a gap. Because he doesn't really have a lot of frame advantage. So, I don't even think you can true string into this. Can you true string into this? Let me see. I can't even true string into... Okay, good. You can. Can you guard cancel Super Dash that? Yes, you can. So you are not safe. It is not a true beam. Can you Z reflect it? Yes, you can. I appreciate it. So Trunks kind of has a little bit of an issue here. He's mostly okay because he's not really going to rely on the Reflect Mind game as much. He doesn't really have a grab. That's not what his toolkit's for. This is more for space control in conjunction with this. So that way he can do stuff like that. I have no idea what to do with Trunks. I don't play this character. It is, but it's not as good. So, now you guys are kind of getting the point of it. There are a couple of other characters that have really unique and interesting situations on 5S as well. For example, this character, and this character. So there are a couple of things that I like about Videlle's particular 5S. She has two. It's not a real Ki Blast. One of them isn't. It's very slow, but it's also very good on block. It's very, 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 very strong on block because she can space herself out, as you guys will see in our upcoming class on Videlle. She can make herself 0, and you can't really reflect this. And because she's here, she can frame trap if she wants to, or she could abuse the respect. She could also stuff like that with a proper assist, obviously, but she can, you know, set up her mix-ups, you know. So pretty cool. This also beats Ki Blasts, but it does not beat Super Dash, so be careful. Her other move is 2S, which seems kind of useless. And we will discuss these tools in immense detail. She doesn't play the Reflect Mind game except off of this. But just like Beerus, she's plus 23 if this lands, which means if you block that, it's her turn. But it's very slow, as you guys may have noticed, which is a good thing she can do this. So you might be wondering, Ken, you're already spending an assist. Why are you going into 2S for plus frames? Who here got hit? Press 1 in the chat if you got hit. Probably my favorite mix-up in the game. You DP'd. Shut up, Petty. You DP'd. Yeah, DP. I dare you. Because that's not my only mix. Go ahead. DP. DP. See what happens. Go ahead. That's because 2-2X mix-up is not that great, honestly. You guys will find out more about this in time when Star is ready. But you guys will find out more about this in due time, to be honest. Like whenever Star gets around to this. We're gonna try to get to this. That's beautiful, thank you. Whenever Star gets out of this. Hopping out, you're not hopping out. But you can guard cancel it, however. So I wouldn't. It's good, but not great. So wow.
It's good?
Mm-hmm. Ki Blast mix after Kefla. I talked about Beerus. And then I talked about SBR. I talked about SBR, I talked about Baby, and I talked about Trunks, because they have very unique situations. I can talk about Frieza, but I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like I understand fully what he does, to be honest. I could see if I could find anything, but I would probably be wrong, because he's a very weird character, in my opinion. But then there's this character. Notice how he's -7, and it's 13 frames. That's not very good. However, who's going to mash here? And if you jump, this hits stupidly high. So that's a very, very potent frame trap. And because he has very good frame data on everything, that frame trap's going to hurt. Because he can easily do that into plus frames. So if you try to jump, he's even more plus than before. You can do that. That. And I'm -2, which means I can dash reset here. I can do that. Not that, but... And then my personal favorite. So, Gogeta has a very unique situation as well. Gogeta is also uniquely good for Oki, because he can do this. And that hits meaty, if I time it right. And because it hits meaty, let's see. Let's put ground recovery to random. So I don't actually know how they're going to tech. Oh, I spaced myself out. Maybe, I think it's this one, actually. Yep. I can make it meaty. Very, very interesting. And, of course, Kara cancel DR, which is kind of nasty, because there's an actual sound cue. This character is really fun. But probably the most potent frame trap that he has is this. Because if you get hit with this, uh-oh, you die. Even worse is if you get hit with this. God, it's actually really hard to aim for that timing. Okay. I can actually whiff Spark if I hit him correctly. Let's see. Let's see if I can do it. I can whiff Spark and actually still convert. Which means this character, if he has enough bar off of an EX move, can kill you, even in meter penalty. You need to be extremely careful. But, unlike most characters as well, he also gets a lot of mileage off of using it in combos. Because this is pretty nice. You guys are familiar with the... I can't do it in the screen. Pain. That, which is pretty cool. Builds an extra smidge of meter. Sets up his knockdown. Really, really, really fun situation. His 5S is pretty excellent. But those are examples of how you can abuse 5S. So to go back and recap for everything, and recap for what everyone was missing, 5S, with most characters, sets up a Reflect Mind game. The Reflect Mind game can usually be abused depending on the opponent's frame advantage, which, by the way, let's talk about him. Let's talk about this character, please, because I hate him. I hate him enormously. And on top of that, he's the most evil character on frame advantage as well. Because if you reflect... So, basically, the king of Reflect Mind game is probably Kid Buu. But also Beerus. But kinda Kid Buu. Because he can also do that. And that's disgusting. Yep. Pain. Point is, guys, now you know a little bit about the Reflect Mind game. We've touched on it a little bit. We will be going over it in detail. But we also know how 5S can be used to help abuse our character's tools. Now, every character has a unique way of using it. You're going to have to lab that on your own. If you guys are subscribers, you can ask me in the Discord, and I'll go over your characters and talk about how their toolkit kind of flows together. There are also Angel trainees who are character specialists. For example, Dimensional. You guys can ask him if you have any questions about Frieza. But the question I would have to ask if you were playing Frieza is, why are you playing Frieza? Izzy, I disagree.
He's about as much fun as watching Lost Song.
I should actually sit down and lab this character for once. But congratulations on you guys know about the Reflect Mind game. Do you guys have any questions at all? Anything you would like to know? Any things that you find confusing or you need clarification on? Or any characters that in particular you're very curious about? Goku Black is in the unique category. Because he can do that. But what makes him unique is that his 5S is also a normal. And why that's important is because of how the normal scales if they get hit by the normal. $627 on a 700. It's a medium starter. He can TOD you, basically, from it, if he has enough resources and the right team. So you don't want to get hit by that. But the projectile, however, scales like a projectile. Your mind game is going to revolve around abusing the plus frames here. Doing it in strange places. And then, of course, you know, setting up your rhythm. There we go. Car cancel 5S. You know, if you want to use this. This is a very potent frame trap, if you want. That's very good. Like, this situation, he doesn't play it that well. If they reflect this, they kind of die. But in all honesty, he is very vulnerable to this. But he has the 2H of the gods, so it's okay. It can be, yeah. It's very good for creating distance. Which is pretty nice, because even though it's so minus, he still has frame trap options. But unfortunately, he does not reach very far to reset off the button, which is kind of a pain. Oh, I guess he could 2M. You know, his slow 2M, but I guess he could do that if he buys enough respect. You know, but I agree. The hitbox is a bit too small. If you see anybody do it for Oki, it's not real. It doesn't beat up-tech double jump. So, honestly, unique, but not exactly the best character in the game for it. Honestly, it's not that good. But there is an advantage to the string, though. There is one very big advantage to the string. Right there. This string regenerates assists. So if you are down your assists, it is a great way to get them back. That is the big draw to using this particular technique. So here's the thing. You guys are asking about characters, but these are characters that are not necessarily, like, unique. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are... I mean, of course you guys are going to be curious as to what I think of your characters, but seriously, guys, just slab it. You guys, after this masterclass, you guys now have the tools to use your 5S properly in pressure. I can't answer questions, but, you know, you're asking me about TN, but TN is exactly the same as everyone else, Legion Black. Like, there's nothing unique about TN. It's literally just a single hit key blast that's -4. He has a guard point low that he can go into, which is really good for baiting Reflect Mind Game, which is obvious, but he has a grab as well, which is also really good. But again, you know, very basic stuff. 21 has a lot of pushback, a lot of frame advantage, but that doesn't really matter because she wants to do this, which is plus. And this is what you should be doing. You know, if you want to do that. You know, you can have fun. If they reflect, they die. Because she can also just do that. There's really no point in using 5S when 2S exists. That's the best thing I can tell you about 21. Like, that's fine if you want to space out your medium and make it safe, which is really good. See? Oh. Let's see. There you go. Like, who's gonna mash here, you know? You can do the Kefla thing. But again, this is a lot better. Because that's pretty good. Because you can also whiff into DR. Which is really, really, really dumb. She has universal mix-up space, all that situation as well. She can also just do... Oh. Yeah, I didn't think so. Yes, it is. Goku has excellent Ki Blast. Mm-hmm. Why? Okay. That's very good. Spaced out jab with the elongated hurt box. That's pretty nice. Like, she can use her Ki Blast in pressure, but she's not really worried about the Reflect Mind game, to be honest, because... What is the ground grab? No, not that. I guess that, yeah. So, kind of a risk, to be honest. Especially if she already has steals as well. Like, if she steals, like, teleport, for example, and they reflect and she teleports, they're going to have a bad time. But yeah. Really, really strong spacing and really strong staggers. You know? So, there you go. 21 in a nutshell. Very basic, very, very cool, very easy. Really, really, really dumb on many levels. Like, it really isn't that hard to figure out. Wow. Holy shit. Oh my god. That's broken. This character is dumb. Jesus. I can see why many consider her the best character in the game. I can see it. I can definitely see it. The ability to do that is really cool as well. But yeah, now we're talking about the Reflect Mind game. You're going to look forward to a lot of topics on that, because we will be talking about it extensively. So, do you guys have any questions? Any concerns? Anything you would like to know about this? Anything that you would like to clarify on this particular topic? I might end up playing this character.
When I drop 21 is when you decide to pick her up.
What?
When I put 21 down, you decide to pick her up.
Yeah, she's cool. I'll probably play her with Gogeta. Don't know if I'll play her with Kefla, but... I hate that. She needs to knock down. That is one situation that you can also do after the Reflect Mind game. If you buy enough respect as well, you can actually cross up. If your opponent has, if your character has good cross ups, you can actually get around that. And you can end up crossing up the Reflect, which is pretty nice. So anything that moves left, right, anything that attacks low when they're stand blocking in order to reflect, generally speaking, those are what I would consider good tools. Wow, I'm safe on Reflect. That's crazy. That's another thing. If your opponent reflects the Ki Blast itself, you are minus. But remember, you have Gatling options, so it's still not their turn. You also have assists. Oops. So do keep in mind that if they reflect your Ki Blast, you are quite minus, and they can punish you. But you have Gatling options. So if they reflect Mash, they kind of die. But be very mindful of what your opponent is capable of doing, and be very, very, very mindful of what your opponent of what your opponent likes to do on Reflect. And like always, try to be ambiguous. Don't go for the same option every single time, even if you are practicing it. Make sure that you're having a good variety in your pressure, and make sure your opponent never gets a beat on what you're going to want to do. Yeah, that's why it's dangerous. There's nothing you can do. Oops. Wow. This character really doesn't care about your Reflect. That's really funny. And you know what? That actually reminds me of something that we can also talk about. You'll see this a lot at mid-level. You don't really see this apply a lot at high level, unfortunately. Mostly because the situations in which they apply only really happen if you're not staggering. But there is this thing that people call anti-reflect or reflect-proof strings. For example, that should be reflect-proof. That's reflect-proof. Reflect-proof. If they mash, they get hit. That sort of thing. Anti-reflect strings are... I'm not going to say that they're useless. They're just not as commonly seen at high level because most of the time you're seeing, you know, like baits. Like you're seeing baits, you're seeing assist utilization. You know, stuff like that. Like, that's what you're mostly seeing. So, you don't really see a lot of anti-reflect strings. However, if you do have an anti-reflect string and you notice that your opponent likes to reflect, that is a very good time to do it. Because then you can... Because then they can... If they want to guard, cancel, reflect, for example... And this is pretty cool. If you want to guard, cancel, reflect... Let's see... Come on. Not a good idea, but if they delay the guard cancel and you end up going for a thing and they reflect your... Like, let's say they reflect your dash up. Like, let's say they do... Chill. Why is it so immediate? Oh, that's annoying. That's really annoying. Point being, that's when you want to use your, like if you do this, that's when you want to bring out your reflect proof strings. Because if you do this, oops. Oh my god. You see, I don't even know what they are with this character. Let's see. See if I can do it. There you go. Reflect proof string. Maybe even... Nope. Wow. Yeah. Reflect. I guess I could also do... No! Wow. Whatever, I'm just going to do it with Kefla. Because Kefla's is the easiest. Boom. So if I do... Boom. I can do... that. I can do... really cool is actually, because you have to double reflect sometimes. Kefla can do... that, which is really nasty. And that's an example of how you can abuse your reflect boost string. So if you're the kind of player that cares about quote-unquote anti-reflects, that's a good time to use them. But if you play a character like Blue Goku that doesn't quote-unquote have good anti-reflect, you have a freaking command grab. Like, you're chilling. But that basically covers the basics of how to use 5S and pressure. Essentially, to review, this can be guard cancel reflected. But remember, you can still frame trap from here. It's okay to frame trap. It's also okay to reset because of the threat of reflect. You have options off of this. And if your character has a unique toolkit that can deal with reflect, for example, Kefla's Lariats, then you are pretty much in a good position. You don't have to worry about that. Thank you so much for the follow. Oh, wow. We have a lot of follows. Thank you so much for the follow. Wow. Wow, why is there so many followers? I just got raided? I have no idea what's going on, but there is way too many of you. Kinda sus. Kinda sus. Does anybody have any idea what's going on? Because I just got like an enormous amount of followers in a very short period of time. Like, I just went up to 518 followers, which is kind of concerning, actually.
Yeah, the activity feed isn't even showing you what's going on. It's kind of broken.
I have no idea why I have... I'm actually still building followers, which is kind of concerning. I have no idea. I mean, I appreciate the follows, I guess, but my viewership is still pretty low, so I have no idea where these followers are coming from, and it's kind of concerning, to be honest.
They might be good to
Yeah. So, as a result, I am going to end the stream here, guys. I would like to take more questions, but for those of you, please go ahead and talk to me in the sub-Discord. If you guys are interested in joining our community that's slowly growing, please consider throwing a sub our way. That way you can get access to exclusive content, for example, VOD reviews. You can get exclusive content like me and Star actually training you based on your performances. You can show us VODs and we'll review it with you. Make sure to join us, guys. It is a great way to keep in contact. My subs, please go ahead and... My friends, please go ahead and contact me on Discord. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great night. And please keep in mind that tomorrow's our 1st to 7 with Dimensional and Uncle Viz, and we're going to see who's going to become the next trainee. Going to be very, very fascinating, guys. Anyway, let me know, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.